Greetings and salutations, my great friend. Welcome to Friday video number 3 for the Wonder and Amazement series. Let me ask you a really quick question. Are you a product of your past, or are you a prisoner of your past? Are you a product of your past, or are you a prisoner of your past? We're going to answer that in today's video. How you make sure you're not a prisoner of the past. And how we're going to do that, you probably saw the thumbnail. Kaylee said, "Are you sure you want a piece of crap on the thumbnail?" And I said, "Kaylee, we got to take the piece of crap and we got to put it on the thumbnail, because that's what today's video is about. You've got to take all the crap of your life." For me, getting picked last for kickball, getting beat up every day, getting taken into the garage by someone that was trusted and having things done to me. Just a few of the starters. Now, I could have sit and been a victim of that for a long time, but that's a metaphor for the crap of your life. What you got to do is take the crap, you got to turn it into fertilizer, and then what do you do with fertilizer? You use it to make beautiful flowers. You use it to make beautiful flowers. So, the setting of this story that I'm going to give today to illustrate this point is 2012. Now, the video 2 Fridays ago about Chi-Chi and the heroin wife, this story was going on at the same exact time. Almost crushed me, but I didn't, because I took the crap, made it into fertilizer, and have created thousands and thousands of beautiful flowers from it in my coaching clients and my speaking clients. When I was a little young boy, I kind of forgot how to be happy with all of the tragedies that had happened. And then, to cap it all off, I went to my 5th grade graduation ceremony. And as all of the 5th graders sat there on the basketball court, the principal said something that was incredibly irresponsible, or lacking in responsibility. She said, "5th grade class, as you move from the small school to the big school, you're going to need to seriously start thinking about what you are going to do with the rest of your life, so that you can have all the things that make you feel successful. You know, kids, the house, the car, the trips." I mean, slightly exaggerating there, but she said, think about what you're going to do and have for the rest of your life so you can be successful. You've graduated from the first phase. And I'm sitting there going, what in the world is she talking about? You know, when I was a little kid, all I really wanted to do was sit by the pool and save bugs out of the pool so that they could go back and be with their families. My mom would come outside and say, "What are you doing, son?" I'd say, "I'm saving bugs out of the pool, Mom. I want them to go back with their families." And she would ask me, "Who taught you that?" And I said, "Nobody taught me that." I could sit there and do that all day, and I was perfectly happy. I didn't need an iPad, an iPod, a computer, an Xbox, a PS5. Didn't need any of that stuff. Heart was naturally calibrated to save bugs out of the pool so they could be with their families. It's all I wanted to do. I was perfectly happy. But then I went off to that school and I got educated. I'm constantly in debate about how educated it really is, because I don't think it's education when you teach people to memorize things that you want them to memorize. I think it's educated when you learn how to think for yourself and answer the question, who am I? But I digress. I don't want to go off on a tangent here. So that summer, I was really stressed out. Like, I don't even know if I knew the word stress at that point, but I was stressed out then. Like, what am I going to do for the rest of my life? I'm 10 years old. Like, can't believe I have to answer this question. But I got so stressed out, maybe it was the hormones of going through puberty too, who knows. But I got a big red zit on the end of my nose. I look like Rudolph, and it wasn't Christmas time. And since I couldn't sleep anymore because I had this stress thing that I didn't have when I was a little kid, you know, you don't even know you're not in heaven until some SOB teaches you you're not. But that's a whole nother thing. And I couldn't sleep, so I turned on the TV. As fate would have it, a Clearasil commercial came on. I mean, seriously. And in the Clearasil commercial, it's like these beautiful people, and none of them have big red Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer zits on their nose, and I think they were dancing, and I knew at that stage I couldn't dance either, and that wasn't good. And I didn't have zits, so I thought, man, if I don't buy this Clearasil, I'm not going to have any friends. Everything the principal said must be true. So then I got busy. I said, man, John, what can you do with your time, talents, and your treasures? Now, the funny part is, I used to give away my candy at lunchtime, because I was a sharer on top of a bug saver. But now I hatched a new plan. I wore my Levi's jeans jacket, and you could open that bad boy up, and it had candy $1 hair, and then it had candy on this side. And I started selling my candy. I mean, not good. And I figured I could buy my happiness back. It never worked. You can't buy your happiness back. Happiness is a choice that comes from within. You have to become happiness to attract happiness. I know that's kind of deep. Well, as fate would have it, it was probably 2010 or 2011. This guy stepped foot into my business, and we became the best of friends. His name was J. Eugene Folk. His friends called him the Jaybird, and I could see why. This guy, he glided, he sang, and I mean, if you called him, he'd always pick up his phone. Who does that? And everybody's, let me text him. I don't remember how to talk. And it was like a mirror had been flown into my face about what I could be. So one day, him and we went to lunch at Crispers in Winter Park, and I said, Jay, you got all these friends, you're so happy. I go, how do you do it, man, if you don't mind me asking? And he laughed, he had this great voice, and he said, John, any fool can make life complicated, but the key I focus in on, son, it's simple, it's available to everyone. And I was just like, simple? Available to everyone? Tell me more. He said, son, you got to start with your heart every day. You got to follow your heart. And I'm sitting there, man, this was like Yoda talking to Luke with a southern accent. And I'm sitting there going, I kind of went back to my childhood, and it made a little bit of sense to me. You're probably wondering, could it really be that simple? I do know this. For 9 months, you're in the womb. Everything's taken care of. And then we pop out, and your parents say, hey, thanks, God, they're beautiful. Let me take it from here. Let me raise them. Let the school system raise them. Let me let the TV set raise them. Let me let the computer raise them. Let me let the YouTube, as long as it's our channel, we'll be happy to help raise. So it made a lot of sense to me. But I still wondered if it could be that simple. Well, as fate would have it, I was going to get a crash course on it, because right after that, my best friend in the whole wide world, J. Eugene Folk, seemingly disappeared into thin air. For 1 month, he quit showing up for his workouts. The last time I'd seen him, he had complained of abdominal pain. I told him to go to the doctor. It's probably a pretty important part of the story. He wouldn't answer the phone. I even tried texting him and emailing him, and there was absolutely nothing. It was like this guy had went to the Bermuda Triangle and vanished, couldn't get a hold of his wife. And then one day, I'm at work wondering what the heck happened. And then my phone rings, and it was Jay, and I jumped to answer. And I go, Jay, man, are you okay? And there was this long, eerie silence. You don't wish these calls on anyone. Jay cried, I cried. He explained to me his absence. The abdominal pain had been a stage 4 cancerous tumor on his abdomen that had started in his liver. And they had told him to get his affairs in order. And I'm like, whoa. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got a 3-year-old daughter. I'm his best friend. He can't die. My mind filled with noise. And then I remembered him saying, start with your heart. And I said, Jay, how can I help? How can I love you, brother, like you've loved me? And he said, John, I'm not going to take this death sentence lying down. I found a surgeon in Texas who, if I can get strong enough, We'll perform an experimental surgery. It will at least prolong my life until maybe some new treatments come available, and I'm going to need your help. Now, I didn't know this at the time. He asked me to meet him at Florida Hospital. I didn't know he had gotten a crash course in chemotherapy. So I go to Florida Hospital to meet with his team. That was going to help get him strong enough. And he was in the bathroom when I got there. The bathroom door opened up. I didn't recognize Jay. My grandfather had liberated Dachau, not by himself, but with the military. That's a concentration camp in World War II Germany. And my best friend in the whole wide world looked just like one of those concentration camp victims. The chemotherapy had, I think they said he had lost like 40 pounds. It might have been 60, literally in a month. He looked like a skeleton. And I sat, I listened, I agreed to help. We formulated a plan. I went to my car, I broke down crying. I called one of my old coaches and I said, I need your services again. I explained to him the situation. I'd never done this before, and he was going to help guide me through helping Jay most optimally. So day in, day out, I went to Jay's house and I lined him pictures of his family. I got his why, and what he really wanted to do was get the surgery, but more importantly, he wanted to get doctor's clearance to leave the house. By this time, he was confined to his house, and he wanted to get the doctor's clearance to leave the house, to get the surgery, but more importantly, think about this. He just wanted to be able to hold his wife's hand again and actually squeeze it. He was so weak, he couldn't. And after roughly 1 month, 1.5 months, he put on weight, he was eating smoothies, he was eating nuts, and there was hope. And he got that doctor's clearance. The first thing he did was a trip to New Smyrna Beach with his wife, and they were going to spend a long weekend and share their love, and there was a lot of hope. And I remember that weekend getting a picture and a text thanking me. I was crying tears of joy, and I went, oh my God, there's that happiness again. And it came from helping my best friend. It didn't come from a new car. It didn't come from a leather jacket. It didn't come from a fat bank account. It came from loving another human being. I'm really getting this start with your heart thing, and it works. Unfortunately, they extended their trip a little bit, but it went upside down. And they admitted him to Burt Fish Memorial Hospital. All of his organs were failing. That's like end-stage cancer stuff. I didn't understand what was going on, but Sheila asked me to come to the hospital. They were going to admit me in under the guise I was Jay's son. I had to wear this like hazmat suit to go into his room, even though the man was on what would become his deathbed. They were still fighting, and I held his hand that night in the plastic, and he just looked me in the eyes. He thanked me for all the help. Some tears. It's hard to wipe your tears when your face is behind a plastic shield. And I think he knew he was going to sleep that time for the last time. And he asked me to please always start with my heart from that day forward. And then he died. And then I was pretty broken. And then there was the wife with the heroin addiction that I lost at the same time. And I was really mega broken. But once I came through all of this, a very close friend of mine, Charlie Clayton, recommended Man's Search for Meaning. It was a book I had read before, but I picked it up again. I felt like God was speaking through him. And it said, you got to take all of the suffering in your life and create meaning from it. I said, lost my wife, lost Jay, and Jay was full on dead. Wife was just lost to the heroin addiction. All the things that had happened to me as a child, the bad things I had done to people throughout my life. I felt very helpful in all of these situations. And I prayed on it for days and days and days. And I decided I never wanted to feel helpless again. Everyone who was in my life, I wanted to reach the deepest possible level that I could. If anybody asked me to help, I wanted to be able to help at the best of my ability. And it was at that point that I went to a very specific coaching school and I learned a really wonderful curriculum. And that was how I took the crap of my life, created Fertilizer from it, and now I've coached thousands of people from around the world. I've worked with several businesses. I'll link my coaching highlight reel video in the comments below or in the description below. You can watch. But if you don't want to be a prisoner of your past, you got to start with your heart. You got to take the crap, turn it to fertilizer, and create beautiful flowers. You can do it. If you need help, please reach out to me. That's what I do. I help people make sense of their suffering now, and quite good at it. Love you. Appreciate you. We'll see you next week.
The world certainly has a lot of crap in it. And what are porta potties filled with? Crap. You will never get out of the porta potty unless you turn it into fertilizer and make beautiful flowers with it. The world needs more flowers. Will you help? Please like, subscribe, and share. And always remember to make being kind cool again.